Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Mono Black Sacrifice or Aristocrats. This is a deck that I played previously on the channel and I've been really enjoying. It's definitely in the realm of kind of being an off-meta brew slash not really even a tier 3 deck, but it feels like it has the power to become a real contender in the format. And I have a little innovation of my own in this deck that I hope will help us win some games. But generally how the deck works is you get down some sackable fodder. Greedy Freebooter and Shambling Ghast both make you a treasure or have some other value along the way. Nozumi Linkbreaker and Infestation Sage both replace themselves with a creature, meaning you can sacrifice 2 creatures for just this 1 mana. And then your creatures that grow based off of sacrificing them are the key here. So Carrion Feeder can sacrifice them itself. Gixian Infiltrator and Mortician Beetle grow along the way. We also have Deadly Disputes and Village Rites to sacrifice them if we don't have a Carrion Feeder to also draw more cards. Reaping the Graves is a great card in this deck. Whether our opponent or us are casting a lot of spells on a turn, we're going to be able to buy back many, if not all, of the creatures in our graveyard to be able to cast them all again through all of our opponent's removal. We have a couple snuff outs because Glee is a very important thing that we need to interrupt. And speaking of Glee, what I think this deck is missing is Glee, but deviant Glee, not sadistic Glee. The deck was missing Trample, I think. We get these enormous creatures and no way to give them Trample, and believe it or not, there is only one black Pauper legal card that even mentions Trample on it, and that's Deviant Glee. It's a black mana for an enchantment aura, the creature gets +2/+1, and has red, this creature gains Trample until end of turn. Now that off-color activation is a little awkward, but between our Deadly Disputes, our Greedy Freebooters, and our Shambling Ghasts, I think we're going to be able to activate it when we need to. It's not necessarily something we're going to activate every single turn, but when we have a 10/10 Mortician Beetle crashing in, and they chump with a spawn and sacrifice it, getting in for an extra 10 damage is going to be really worth paying that 1 red mana for. Other than that, we have Swamps and Vaults of Whispers, which can be sacrificed to the Deadly Dispute, and our sideboard has Rotten Reunions to be a little graveyard interaction, Accursed Marauder for Bogle's matchups, Mesmeric Fiends for any combo matchups, Snuff Outs for Brood Scales, and Weather the Storms for our red opponents. The previous list that I was running had Unexpected Fangs in the main deck instead of Deviant Glee. I do like that card a lot in general, and I don't think it's bad in this deck, but I want to try the Trample over the Lifelink. If we can just kill them easier, then we'll do that rather than needing to survive with the Lifelink. So let's jump into some games. This hand looks pretty good. We don't have a Carrion Feeder, but we have the Mortician Beetle to grow, 2 sackable creatures and a Deadly Dispute, plus we have the Snuff Out if they are running Brood Scale or just anything with big creatures. So I think we're going to keep this one. Opponent on the mold of 5, and just a Mountain. Could be mono red, but could be Wildfire or a number of other things. We drew another Ghast. I don't think we're playing a Mortician Beetle that just dies to a Bolt, seeing as it's our only growing creature. I think we're going to play a Shambling Ghast. They have a Rite of Flame. Okay, this tells me it actually might be some sort of storm deck, maybe like a Ruby Storm, Reckless Impulse, Flame Breather, and Thornscape Familiar. Yeah, so I think this is a Ruby Storm. Kalikai's has been building, so that explains the mold of 5. No land is pretty rough for them here, though. Our Snuff Out, our second Snuff Outs are going to be pretty good here, though. In that case, we don't really need to be worried about removal. I think we are just going to play the Mortician Beetle, and I guess I'll play the Linkbreaker for diversity. I don't know if there's a better one to play there. They just play, if they get a land, they have the Lotus Petal, so they could play one of these two. If it's a Thornscape, we can just sack the Ghast to it, to our Deadly Dispute to kill it. They have another Lotus Petal, so if we let that go off, they'll be able to cast the Flame Breather, but I can just snuff out the Flame Breather, and then they have to use their Lotus Petal, so I think that's probably better. They have a Morphos. I still think it's fine. If they really storm off from here, I probably will snuff out the Thornscape, but Flame Breather. But now if they cast something, an Impulse, we will snuff out the Flame Breather. They get a Narcomancer and a Ren's Resolve, Vault of Whispers. So we're just going to do this pre-combat. Not that I think they're going to block. We're going to kill the Thornscape, and that's going to win it. Yeah, they had a Mull low, only 1 land, and then had to go all in for this, and we had the answer. This is an interesting one. They are Storm, and they do deal us damage for their spells cast, so it's possible that whether the Storms being brought in would be decent. I'm not confident that's a winning play. Snuff Outs are good. Their creatures are not black, and they need their creatures pretty badly. Mesmeric Fiends honestly don't feel as important in this matchup as other combo decks. Taking a key draw spell could be good, so I'm not sure about them. TV and Glees are not needed for this matchup. They're not really going to have anything to chump with, and if they're chumping with their cost reducers, then we're in an okay spot anyway. I think Marauders as more removal isn't bad either. They don't have that many creatures, certainly not ones that are expendable. I don't know what their sideboard looks like, but I don't think they're going to have removal. Now, Reaping the Graves is good even without removal because we can bring back like our Fiends and things, so I don't know if this is one you never cut. Definitely something I haven't quite learned about the deck. It's a lot of cards to bring in, though. Can I cut 4 freebooters? Ghasts seem good against the Thornscape. Marauders could just be too slow, but generally they might have to play out their guys on a turn where they can't win. This might be sacrilegious, but I don't think we need any Reaping the Graves in this match. We just need to kill their creatures and hit them quickly. Reaping helps with that. Maybe we'll keep 2. I don't know. No interaction here makes this rough, but we do have a fast clock because we do turn 1 Beetle, turn 2 Carrion, and an Izumi. Can make these 3/3s. They kept 7. Just not sure without any interaction that this is going to get there. I think we got to go a little lower. This one looks okay. Only 1 land, but 2 snuff outs. We'll keep this. Get rid of the Infiltrator, I think. They have a Needle. Get our Swamp. Mountain and do a Flame Breather. They're going to pass. Village Rites. I think we're just playing these 2 guys. We're not sacking all of them because we want to keep at least 1 for a Village Rites. So could just sack for 3 damage. Let's just play these guys. Swing. Sack. Sack. I think we'll just do that. Go to damage. Snuff out the Flame Breather. They have an Apostle's Blessing, so we will snuff it out again. It's possible we should save the second one for a cost reducer, because that's how they start their combo, and this is the payoff, which they don't need at the beginning. So that may have been a little hasty. Rite of Flame, Ren's Resolve, Apostles and a Thornscape. No green mana yet. Let's see if they have the Morphos or a Forest. Don't usually play Forests, I don't think. They got another Ren's Resolve, sacking their Needle. 2 more non-land cards, Glimpse and a Flame Breather. 1 card in hand. I mean, this looks pretty good for us. They have 2 red mana. Next turn, they can cast just a Flame Breather. Reaping. That could be okay. Get in for 5 this turn. We could get in for 6 with the Mercenary token. I think we're going to pump Village Rites the Mercenary. Get a Vault and a Carrion Feeder. If I play that, I have 6 damage. If I sack it, I don't need to sack it, though. We'll swing for 5. We don't have mana for this Reaping, so we'll just play out to the Feeder and pass. They get their Flame Breather and lose these 3 cards. Another Swamp. I could Reaping for 1 creature, like a Sage, and then I can play that, which allows all of these to attack in for 7 damage. We only have 2 creatures in the grave, so we could just let them spend something, spend their turn, and then be Reaping both of them back. They just concede. Yeah, they were too far behind. That was not going great for them. Round 2 here, we get a Carrion and a Gixian. Nothing that we want to sack to these, but I guess if we have to sack a Vault, might not be bad. I think we're going to keep this one. We have the Reaping for later, although without a lot of fodder to start in hand. Not looking great. They're on something blue. Could mean Reaping the Graves gets better. Ponder. Ponder's not common in Blue Fae. It's not super common in Blue Terror, so this could be more like Is It Terror? Or maybe Familiars? I think those are 2 of the main decks that play Ponder. They shuffle. There's our Glee. If this isn't Fae, I'm not sure Glee is really where we want to be in this matchup, but that's fine. We do get our Infiltrator down ahead of Counterspells, which is kind of nice. Hit for 1. They're just going to hold up Counterspell mana. We get a Freebooter. I want to play that. I still would be surprised if they have a Spell Stutter. If they don't have a Spell Stutter, I don't think this is getting countered by anything else. But I guess we're probably sacking it to the Village Rites when they tap out, so we don't really need to play it pre-combat. If they are still Fae somehow, Brine Barrow Intruder would get us if we don't play the Freebooter. I'm not really expecting either of those, though. But I think the likelihood they counterspell this is low. So let's just play it out. Alright, we got there. Gives us a little more insurance with these guys. Attack for... I think we're just hitting for 3. And Village Rites if they tap out here. They just take their turn. 3rd Island and pass. So... seems like mono blue something. I could go for the Village Rites on the Freebooter and the end step here. They probably counter it with like a Spell Pierce. Then I can Deadly Dispute the treasure we get off the Freebooter. If they still have counterspell mana, they could use that. But we do grow our Infiltrator. I guess it's just as much damage either way. I guess if they're not doing anything, we won't either. There's a Link Breaker. I will play that. See what they got. They let it through. Swing. Go to blocks. So this is 4. If I sack this, it would be 6 or 8. I could make it 9 if I want. I don't want to go too all in because they could have snaps. I do kind of want to get a scry off this freebooter and the treasure to make it easier to cast some of our other stuff. So I think we'll sack that. We do miss out on a damage by sacking this instead of the Link Breaker. But having the treasure means we could go for a dispute if we want. I kind of like a swamp with what we have in hand, a lot of card draw and a Reaping the Graves. So even if we don't end up getting a draw spell through, we'll still be drawing that. This is 5. I could make it 7. I think we're just going to let it go, though. They have too much mana that I can't be too comfortable if they don't have like a bounce spell or anything. So I'll leave my threats pretty diversified at the moment. They haven't done anything so far, so like hitting for 5 here is still not bad. They need to get something going. So they're at 11, and we'll just pass. They cycle a Lorien. Get a Contaminated Aquifer. Okay, so they are Dimir. They also Thought Scour. So Dimir Terror looks like. I could Village Rites here. Chances are they have a Spell Pierce, though. I think we're fine. Sleep the Dead on Unexpected Fangs. So that could be a 2-mana Terror. They also cycle a Lorien here. So now we get to go for it. Village Rites. They probably have Snuff Outs, but those are we're impervious to. Unless they want to sack or to kill the mercenaries. Yeah, we'll just do the Village Rites. No need to use our treasure here with the dispute, even though we get it back. Another Glee. We also get an island here. Play the island. So still no black. That's a 1-mana Terror. So since they're blue-black, I don't think they're going to have a lot of bounce spells. It's mostly going to be Snuff Outs, Cast Downs, and maybe an Agony Warp. So without black mana, I think we might be okay here. Mortician Beetle's not bad either. So they probably have a counterspell. I don't quite have the sack fodder to get this to attack past the Terror, but they would trade, which I might be okay with. If I cast a Mortician Beetle and they counter it, I can Reaping back all 3 of our guys. That seems okay. Let's start with the Mortician Beetle. They let that go. I kind of don't want to trade this here because our guy's going to grow faster than theirs. I could like double Glee and then I'd have sack for this, but I guess that's not terrible. That makes it 8, 9. I mean, that makes it lethal with both of these, so they'd have to chump the Infiltrator. I could also dispute. That probably gets countered. So if I dispute a Vault, say, or a Mercenary, Gixian, we'll pump the Gixian. Well, we'll pump the Carrion Feeder. So currently we'd have 7 damage. Sack the Vault, 8. We would have 1 treasure, even if this gets countered. So 9, and then a Deviant would make it 11. They might have a Spell Pierce as well. That would make it so they'd have to chump. I think that might be worth it. Let's pump this Carrion Feeder. So I could just Deviant Glee, which makes this Deadly Dispute not need to be sacrificed. So this would put this to an 8-5. Still lethal. So yeah, actually, we could just double Deviant. Let's cast that. They're going to counterspell. So now I can Deadly Dispute. They might have a Spell Pierce for that. But this will still get a counter. Well, it'll still get 2 counters. And then we can sack something else, and they'll still have to chump. So we'll Deadly Dispute this Mercenary. They have the Dispel, but this is 11. So we attack with both, they could block here, and that wouldn't be good. But I can attack with just this, and if they chump, I'll sack a Mortician Beetle. Yeah, if I attack with this, I'd have to sack both of these. So actually, maybe I should have sacked the Vault, because then we'd have the Mercenary. That's okay, though. I mean, that wasn't terrible. They just take it. We'll let them take 6 and pass. That was an interesting turn. I'm not sure I played it perfectly. I could have just gone for the double Glee still, and they wouldn't have been able to dispel it. Still could have maybe Spell Pierced it. Cycle a Lorien for an island, which they play. Mental Note, 2 lands. They do still have this Sleep of the Dead, but they can't really afford to tap out for it right now. They disagree. Okay. Keep it tapped. Swamp. So let's see. If I put Deviant Glee on a Carrion Feeder, these are both 2/2s. They block. Then I sack this and this to Carrion Feeder. This is only 4. If I put it on the Beetle, they block the Beetle. Sack this and this, still just 4, either way. If I Reaping the Graves for 1, I can get a Link Breaker, that's 2. Grows both of these by 2, but then we don't have any more mana, so we can't really attack in. Well, no, we can, because if we do that, We attack in, they're both 4/4s, and then whichever they block, we sacrifice to grow. Okay, yeah, that'll work. So just reaping back the Link Breaker. Cast that, and then this should make both of our attackers lethal. They block here, we'll sacrifice the Link Breaker, sacrifice the Mercenary, and sacrifice the Carrion Feeder to itself. That's 5 damage. All right. That was interesting. I mean, they didn't have anything for the first several turns, but definitely the Terror made it tough and interesting, and we were able to get there. Snuffouts, they are Dimir, so they're probably playing Gurmag Anglers, which means Snuffouts not as good, and it's still 2 mana versus a Terror. So it's possible we just want to go big enough to make them chomp. Marauder seems good here, because I guess they could be playing Snackers probably. We didn't see any, and they milled quite a bit. But if they're playing Snackers, this is worse. But still seems okay. Reunion could be decent. Actually could be good. If they have Snackers, it's great, obviously. But also it just takes out like Sleep of the Dead. They might have some deep analyses. So I don't mind those. I'm not sure this is the matchup for Glee. If they're chumping with a 5/5, the trample is probably negligible. Or even just the fact that they're losing a 5/5, even if I do have a 10/10, is probably going to win us the game anyway. I don't think we need these. These are more for the Eldrazi spawn matchups, Chrysalis and the like. So do I want any Snuffouts? We just have a lot of chump blockers for their Terrors too, so I really don't think we need them. Maybe we'll bring in the last Rotten Reunion or Freebooter? I kind of like the Freebooters. I think we'll just do this. 2 of each of these and see how that runs. This one looks decent. We're going to keep it. The main thing I don't like about it is that our sack outlet is all Deadly Disputes, which means they probably just get countered, but still seems okay. Turn 1 Beetle, turn 2, probably 2 of these guys, and then start disputing when it's most awkward for them to counter it. Vault of Whispers. Play a Beetle and pass. They cycle a Lorien for an Aquifer. Play that. Another Swamp. Well, we're not Deadly Disputing this turn, because our only thing to sacrifice would either be this Vault if we played that, or a Beetle, and those seem bad, so we're getting down the 1/1s. If they brought in, like, Arms of Hadar, this is kind of bad there, although they're not going to have it for another turn. So ideally we can get the Beetle up big enough. I don't know if that's something they would have brought in. I know that we're pretty resilient to the 2 damage or, toughness reduction board wipes. Because all of our fodder gets picked off, but some of it replaces itself, and then all of our bigger creatures are generally growing outside of that range pretty quickly. But without a Carrion Feeder, it's a little tougher. They have a Snacker, okay. Miss a land drop, though. Infestation Sage. So I can just Deadly Dispute the Ghast to pick off the Snacker if we want, and then attack for 3. 3 damage is not a lot, though. I think I'd rather just get a treasure from the Ghast, in which case I might as well just do the Freebooter. Or even the Sage here. I think we'll just dispute a Freebooter, see what's up before we do anything else. Another Freebooter on top. I don't think we need more of these. We would love Carrion, more guys that grow, or more interaction. Well, 2 more Ghasts. Interesting. I guess now we might as well pick this off, get in for 3. They're probably going to Brainstorm next turn anyway, get it back, but they're might as well get in for the damage. And once again, see what's up. Carrion Feeder and a Reaping the Graves. So next turn, I don't want to use all these treasures because next turn I kind of want to Reaping at least 2 of these guys cast. So that'd be for 3. We already have 2 creatures dead in the grave. I could pass and leave these all up, but I kind of want to get the Carrion Feeder down. I think we'll do that so that it can start attacking and attack for 3. I guess I could play Ghasts and then sack them to the feeder. Should have done that pre-combat. I could have done a couple just so that this would survive 2 damage. I think it's okay, though. I think we'll be fine. The Snacker coming back tapped is also super key, so they're not actually going to be able to jump with it, even if they have a Brainstorm here. And actually, we can maybe... I haven't done the math. We can maybe kill them next turn. Because we can play, for 5 mana, we can play out all 3 of these. Sack the Ghasts. They have another Snacker. They do have an island, though. Okay. 1 island isn't really going to counter anything meaningful, though. Another Reaping. Okay, so I haven't done this before, but we can play out the Ghasts, sack them, get their treasures. Infestation Sage. So this could be a Reaping for 4. Get back the Ghasts. So Reaping for 4 after we've spent 6 mana out of 7, so we'll only have 1 left. But then I can play another Ghast, Freebooter, Ghast, cycle through all those, and then end with a Ghast that pings this off. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counters each. I think this should work. This is crazy if it does. Let's start with a Ghast and a Sage and a Ghast. Sacrifice this guy for a treasure. These are all going to be for treasures until the very end. Sack this guy for treasure. Sack the Sage. Now we can Reaping to get back Freebooter, Shambling Ghast, Shambling Ghast, Shambling Ghast. I'm walking through this so slowly because I'm worried I'm going to make a mistake. I guess if they somehow counter a 1-drop here, they interrupt it, but how are they going to counter? I mean, a Force Spike maybe. Sack this. Treasure. Freebooter. They have a Mental Note. Yeah, that doesn't do it. Sack the Freebooter. Scry doesn't really matter. Shambling Ghast. Sack the Ghast. Our 9th spell, because I guess we're playing Storm here. Sack the Ghast, and this time we shrink the Sneaky Snacker. And then we attack for what would be 20 once we sack this Insect token, which we're not going to do on the off chance they somehow have something for free. But oh my gosh, this deck is broken in half. How did we just do that? I thought getting all those Ghasts was not the best, but the fact that they can just pay their own costs, you can cycle through them, is crazy. I didn't think we'd have enough mana for that, and then realized we'd have one after the Reaping the Graves, which is all we need to replay all of our Ghasts. That was so freaking cool, dude. All right, round 3 here. We have Beetle, Sage, and a bunch of card draw. We're on the play. I think we're going to try this one. I think I'm going to lead on Sage in case, just as often, if we're in the dark, I feel like I don't want to walk into removal, especially when we only have one growing creature. And also being able to play the Mortician Beetle next turn and have a Rights to sack the Sage in case they have like Ghast of their own to pick off the Beetle is nice. Mono red, it looks like. So nice that we didn't run out the Beetle. Probably still going to die to something. Swamp. I could just hold up double Village Rights. Double Village Rights isn't terrible. We're not going to get any triggers off the Mortician Beetle from it, which is a little awkward. But we could just play it and they're probably going to bolt it. And then we Village Rights it away. Find some other stuff. It's going to be tough for us to get to a point where this is not going to die to a bolt instantly. So I think we're just going to run it out. And I don't think there's a reason to attack. This is another matchup that the Trample could be pretty good here. They start with a Synth. That bodes well for our Mortician Beetle surviving. Get an Epicure off of that. Well, never mind. They Chain Lightning it. Well, they wasted an Epicure, so it's not all bad. We'll sack. Mortician Beetle grows itself. Draw 2 Swamps. That's pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. Link Breaker's okay, though. So I think we're going to swing, because we're going to sack to a Deadly Dispute. And if they want to trade, I'll probably just take that trade, honestly. We got plenty of other things to dispute. But yeah, this way we get kill a creature, draw 2. Got to find some more of our growers. Well, more card draw is not terrible. I guess flyers are good. So are mercenaries. I guess we'll just play a Link Breaker and pass. Hold up a Village Rights. Percussionist. Epicure. I mean, I like it's all 1/1s because I can trade with those. Sending in the Percussionist. Do I want to block and sack or just take 1? I think we'll just take 1 for now. Don't really want to use up my treasure if I don't have to. Snuff Out's not a great draw. I'm going to swing for 2 because we're going to sack this Link Breaker, I think. Well, we got so many more cards than them, but without guys that grow off of all this, it's not really making it. Deviant Glee's not great. Going to play a couple Sages. This is pretty bad to end the festivities, but these do at least replace themselves. I don't really want to throw a Glee on any of these yet, because they could just get bolted down. I might throw it on an Insect next turn, because that's not bad damage in the air. We're going to wait at least until they're tapped out here, though. They crack a Synth after they play a land. They find another Synth. Off of that, they hit a Tomb Raider. Okay. Trade for this Percussionist. I think we're just drawing 2 more cards with our Village Rights. Oof, more guys. I mean, that's something, I guess. And a Shambling Ghast. I mean, Ghast's not bad in this matchup. We do just get to hit him for 3 in the air if we want to tap all 3 of these. We could also Deviant Glee one of these. Kind of makes him kill 1, because otherwise we have 5 damage here in the air. We also have a Snuff Out. Yeah, so let's Glee one of these. I could just Mercenary this and hit for 4, almost as much, and we get to leave back an extra blocker. But I guess if we're just playing these 2, it's bad if they have a Kuldotha, which they haven't so far. It's not Kuldotha with Whacker. 5 is faster. Yeah, I guess we're going to go with both of them. 5 flying. I guess I should have spread this out in case they have a Fire Blast here. But they just take it. We'll play Ghast. And do I want to play a Freebooter? Because I might just want to hardcast this Snuff out. Again, the extra creature is good if they do go for a Kuldotha, but otherwise it doesn't look too relevant. So I think, yeah, we're just going to block Epic Ears if they attack with them, and then snuff out the Samurai. They're cracking another Synth. Get a Great Furnace. They haven't end the festivities. Yep, that's rough. I guess it's good that we have this insect token living. We also get an insect from this, and we do get a -1 from this Ghast. But that does hurt. Pick off an Epicure. Altogether, not the worst situation. I'm glad we didn't play the Freebooter. So we have 4 damage in the air. That's 3-turn clock. We're going to kill this Samurai, so they have a 4-turn clock. But obviously they have burn spells. I guess we do trade this insect. But next turn we get a Freebooter, which is maybe going to chomp. Yeah, we'll trade. And kill this Samurai. We have a Reaping the Graves. That's not bad. But we are only going to get it for 2 here. I can hit for 3. Maybe they bolt this. Well, I think we're attacking either way. Our clock is roughly as fast as theirs. Obviously, they have lightning bolts and things, though. We're going to get rid of a mountain. Okay. I think we're playing Freebooter. So Reaping for 2 gets us what? Mortician Beetle and a Shambling Ghast, or maybe a Infestation Sage, probably. Sage isn't bad. If it dies, which it will when they attack, we can get another flyer. Mortician Beetle honestly is not great. We could just get 2 Sages. Or I could wait till their turn. They maybe play 2 or 3 spells. We can Reaping for more. I kind of think we just want Sages for flyers right now. That's how I'm feeling. So that's what I'm going to do. Another in the festivities is not great here, but it does transform these into flyers. They have a Chain Lightning for the insect, and a Lackey, and a Bushwhacker. Well, maybe the Reaping the Graves play wasn't right. Still not in a terrible spot here. I can trade for the Samurai and have 3 damage on the Crackback. They're putting us down to 9. I probably got to trade for this Bushwhacker too. But if I do this, we take 4. And we have 2 flyers. Seems okay. If we hadn't Reapinged, we would just have this Freebooter. We'd block here. We'd take 7, go to 8. But then we'd also get back 2 more creatures. Probably would have been better in hindsight. Obviously, we didn't know they would for sure throw out all their spells this turn. We do get a Scry. Village Rites. We do need to draw something. Do we attack for 2 and then sack one of them? I guess so. I don't like that we're losing some of our damage, some of our clock by sacrificing, but I think drawing 2 blind is better than drawing 1 blind, and this is going to be too slow of a clock anyway. So we might as well convert it. Deadly Dispute's not bad. We will just sack the treasure over the land, because I don't think we're going to need the mana this turn that badly, I'm hoping. It depends on what we draw. Another Sage, well, not going to need it for sure. Play that and pass. I mean, we can maybe finally trade this for a Percussionist. I don't really like giving them the card. They don't attack. Okay, that's interesting. They didn't want to give us another flyer. And we got the Reaping. Well, we're going to swing for 1. If this 1 Sage can hold back 2 of these, I'm okay with that. Although they're probably going to sack this Lackey. They go for the Galvanic. Okay. So, what are the chances that either one of us is going to cast more than 1 spell on another turn? If we get another Deadly Dispute or Village Rites, we will. Probably. If they get a Synth, they probably will. It's possible they finally run this into this. They're also going to have a Lackey to sack, or rather, I think they're going to sack it on this end step to draw, which means they're going to have at least 2 cards. So I don't think we Reaping for 1 here, because I don't think it gets us 2 more Sages, but I don't think that's going to get us there. So we're going to pass. They don't sack. They do immediately ditch a mountain, though. They go for the attack with the Lackey. I don't think we're going to block. I mean, if I block, we get a flyer. It feels like they're going to sack this here. But then they can start attacking with the Percussionist. I think we're going to take 1. Tough call. And they're going to pass. All right, well. Shambling Ghast's okay. We can swing with the Sage now. If they block with the Percussionist, maybe it gives them an Instant Seize spell and they play that with Reaping. They're going to block. They get a Lightning Bolt. So if we're lucky, they'll play that this turn. And then we'll Reaping for 3. They don't, but they might still cast 2 spells on this turn. That's fair. They wanted more information on what to shoot, because they might need to kill the insect token. They have a Bushwhacker. Okay. I think we block with the Ghast. Oh, I guess we can block all this damage. Yeah, let's block the Lackey with the Ghast. Lackey is first strike, so it's going to kill before damage, and then we'll shrink the Bushwhacker, because we don't need this extra treasure token. And then they have to use the Bolt here, or they're going to lose it. Oh, they also have one more card in hand. If we're lucky, that's like a useless creature, like an Epicure. There's the Bolt on the insect. Well, we're going to go for the 3, Reaping the Graves. Getting back. We have one Mortician Beetle and a bunch of Sages. I think Sages are the way to go. Maybe that's silly. Maybe we want 1 Beetle. We have been sacking stuff with Deadly Disputes. Yeah, we should get back a Beetle, I think. So 2 Sages and a Beetle. Swamp off the top. If we play all these and they haven't end the festivities, it's not great, but we'll still get the 2 flyers. I think we're going to go for it. They have the Galvanic here. That's fine. I didn't have any way to sacrifice anyway. If I did, I should have played these in the other order. I probably should have anyway to bluff that I had something. Made them more hesitant about it. So that was a little wrong for sure. What an interesting game 1 against mono red here. Well, they just tapped a red and almost started sacrificing something. So I think they have a Kuldotha. But it looks like they're going to keep it. You have a Link Breaker. If they have a Kuldotha in hand and they get a Bushwhacker, we're going to want as many creatures out as possible. But do we want to hold this in case we get another Reaping? We've already seen 2. I think we got to have it just in case they get the Bushwhacker. We can't swing because they trade, or rather, they don't trade. They just eat this. This eats them. It's bad for us is what I'm trying to say. There's the Kuldotha. Did they top deck the Bushwhacker? No, now they're just worried about us going wider than they are. We have an Infiltrator. We do have a treasure to sack for it. I guess we're playing that. It dies to a Bolt, so it's possible we should wait on this until we had a Carrion Feeder, but who knows when that'll be. It could be forever. This one I probably should have just held. I really don't need it on the board right now. Actually, they're probably just going to bolt us down. We probably should have attacked with the Sages a couple turns ago and just started chipping in with our flyers. I think we have made a mistake. They're going to crack their Lackey. I mean, if we don't die here, this will make it easier to start attacking in with our guys. They have another Kuldotha, though. That makes it a little harder. There's a Reaping. Yeah, I should have saved the Freebooter. I guess we're attacking... Let's see. If they hit us with 5 of these, we die, assuming they have a Bushwhacker. Bushwhacker's one of them as well, so that's 4. So we need to have at least 3 blockers. So I guess I can really only attack with 2 of these. Attack with this Infiltrator, though. Yeah, we'll do this. This is risky. If they have a Bushwhacker and another creature, we're going to die. But we would like that to not happen. They just take it. I guess we're just going to sacrifice this treasure because we don't really have anything else to do. Them taking it makes me a little concerned that they can just kill us. So should I Reaping back? They're at 3. Should I Reaping back 1 creature? Another Sage, perhaps? They're at 3 cards in hand. The chances of them being able to kill us are so high that I say yes. Let's get back a Sage. I don't think I played these last couple turns great. If we'd converted these Sages into bugs a little earlier, we probably could have just had them dead this turn with flying. And if they haven't done the festivities, well, 3 of our guys turn into guys again. There's a Lackey. They are swinging. We're going to block as much as we can, which is 4. So if they need 3 bolts, I guess. Well, 2 bolts and an Epicure would do it, I guess. Carrion Feeder finally on top. They have the Chain Lightning. We don't have double treasure to throw it back at them. That's unfortunate. A Lightning Bolt and a Gal Blast. All right, well, that was very close, and I think we threw somewhere along the way. So I'm not too happy about that. We do get 4 Weather the Storms. I mean, I said Glee was decent in this matchup because it allows us to trample over them. That is true, although obviously this match wasn't great because we weren't able to get any guys that were very big. But it's also possible that they can just kill all of our big guys before they get big enough. So maybe Glees are not worth it. Because if we just do what we did there, but we actually had a Carrion Feeder along the way that was too big for them to kill, I think we would have been okay. Or at the very least a Carrion Feeder that they would have had to spend 2 or 3 removal spells to kill. So I think we'll get rid of the Glees and try like this. We're on the play. We just have some Sage, just some guys. But it's kind of enough to slow them down and then weather the storm, I guess. It's possible that we need a more direct game plan. You know, Carrion Feeder, and so this is a bad starting hand. I'm not sure, but it's the one we have. They do have Lackey, which makes it so we can't really attack with anything, so that's not great. Epicure, Village Rites is nice, so we can make this Sage bigger, or we could save it for a Weather the Storm off this Ghast. Not Sage bigger, Sage Fly. I think we're just going to pass here. On the off chance that they just happen to play 3 spells, this will give us a good weather turn, but if not, we'll probably just sack a Sage. They're just going to pass. In that case, we are going to sack this guy. Possible we want the treasure anyway. Well, those were terrible draws. Okay, I guess they're trying to make us lose. It's possible we wanted to sack the Ghast anyway, so that we'd have a Weather the Storm whenever we need it. They have a cast for these two. Okay. Well, if we didn't draw 7 of our 17 lands in the top 12 cards, I think we would be having a better shot of winning this one. But as is, it's looking rough. Percussionist. Swing with the Lackey. Deadly Dispute's pretty good. Let's try to make something happen. Sack Ghast. Ping off their Epicure. We're already getting a treasure from this Dispute for the Weather. Another Weather. Well, I think we're just playing a Sage and passing. 9 life is not really enough to make me that comfortable, and I don't think it's that hard for them to cast more than 2 spells in a turn. For example, they're going to bolt this here, so 12 life, I guess that's decent. We kind of need to survive, and so this will help with that. Discard a mountain to their blood, play a mountain, swing with just the Lackey. I do like how all these 1/1s just makes them so reluctant to attack. That is pretty cool. I wish we would stop drawing swamps, though. We'll swing for 1 flying. I could have made it 2, but I want to have a blocker so that they can't get in for quite as much damage. I know that they're at a lower life total than we are, but obviously they are the aggro match here, the aggro deck. We're aggro too, but not quite as much. Kuldotha, their Percussionist, looks scary. They have a Great Furnace. That's a Bushwhacker. Kind of scared they have another Bushwhacker. Just a Bolt for the Mercenary. Well, I guess we're taking 10, and I don't even know what would be a good draw here. I mean, I guess a Deadly Dispute line, giving us Weather the Storm possibilities would be nice. Gixian Infiltrator, not really what the doctor ordered. I think we gotta block here and lose our only sack fodder, but keep our Infiltrator alive so it can hopefully grow off of a Deadly Dispute is our goal. Bro, I guess I'm not blocking. 9 of our 18 draws have been lands. That's half, and lands are only about 1/4 of our deck. A little over 1/4. We're taking 4. Link Breaker. Yep, that certainly is a Link Breaker. I mean, this is when our deck is bad, is that a lot of our creatures are low impact by themselves, but, 3 fewer lands and I'd be in an okay spot. I guess we have to lose this Infiltrator. I don't really know what our game plan is to win without it, but even with it, it's looking kind of rough. You're joking. You're joking. I can't believe my eyes. We'll go to 6. There's a Ghast. I guess that can cast a Weather the Storm after we chump with it. Percussionist. Swing with the team. They're going to smartly Galv Blast us before our Ghast gives us a treasure, so we die. We have only 1 land, but the Village Rites makes it more tempting. So we have Shambling Ghast for a treasure, so I think we'll keep this one. And start with the Ghast in case we need the treasure as a way to play mana. Use mana. They have a snow-covered island, so that makes me a little hesitant to Village Rites here, because if they just have a Spell Pierce, we get got. But we do get a Ghast treasure, so then I can immediately play a Sage, and the following turn I could go for another Rites. I think we'll just see if they tap out here. They do. So let's Village Rites this now. Hit our land, but of course it's in our end step, so a little worse. They get a Floodplain, so Familiars, it looks like. I don't know how this deck does against Familiars. That seems like a potentially tricky matchup. Shambling Ghast. Well, let's get down our Carrion Feeder. Yeah, because they run snaps, so this seems tough. I think part of our game plan is to always leave up Village Rites, so that if they try to snap, we can sack in response. But we'll still lose all the counters at the creature itself off a feeder. They have a Faithful, Vault. They could just have a snap right now, because I could attack, and if they block, I could sack a bunch to kill this, but then if they have a snap, it's bad, so I'll probably just attack and not do that. Another Sage, swing for 2. Yeah, we're just gonna bounce off this, play another Ghast, and pass. Cycle and Ash Barrens. They preordain. We'll go to our turn. Beetle isn't bad. I think we'll cast that right away, see if they want to counter or anything. They don't. Swing with the team. They block here again. I think we just let them take 3. And I think we'll play the Link Breaker. I want to leave up Reaping, but I don't think this is a turn where we're probably going to use it. Even if they do play 3 or 4 spells, like I could sack a bunch of these guys and then get them back, which wouldn't be bad. They're just going to cast a Seagate Oracle. They only have 1 mana up. They haven't played a land for turn, so I'm going to Village Rites now while they're tapped low. If they have a Dispel, that's fine. Alright, we get to draw 2. Another Reaping could be good. Play an island and they pass. Get a Swamp. Another Feeder. Play it. And I think we're just jamming with the team. They block Oracle on the Feeder. I'm willing to sacrifice 1, maybe 2. 1 to keep it alive, 2 maybe to try to kill the Oracle, but they'll probably snap. They block the Beetle with the Faithful. So if I sack 2, then I threaten killing both of them, so they'd have to have 2 snaps or something, so I think that's worth trying. Let's make a Flyer and a Mercenary. We lose a couple damage on them, but that's not the important part at the moment. I fully expect one of these to get snapped, but yeah, they're snapping this one. So I could just sacrifice it, which means they can't do another snap. We're also at Storm Count 3, so I could Reaping back 3 guys. I do think we want to sacrifice it. And we'll make it on this one, so we're diversifying a little bit. So we don't kill the Faithful, but we do kill the Oracle. And now I can get back, if I want, Beetle, Sage, and another Sage or a Link Breaker. And then play the Beetle out again. That seems good. I have another Reaping, so I don't mind doing a small one here. Small-ish. I think we're going for the Flyers. They play Mole Drifters, but they... Other than that, and I guess Murmuring Mystic makes birds, but other than that, they mostly don't have... they have a lot of ground creatures. Tap 2, play a Chancery. See if they want to snap right away. Still 2 Carrion Feeders, so yeah, they snap the Beetle again, which rituals them up to 6 mana. I think that's fine. The Beetle doesn't have enough counters. I lose a counter off of this, but I get to keep it. Get a little bit of mana. Coalition Honor Guard. Interesting. That really only matters for the snuff outs that we have. I guess our Deviant Glees we have to cast on their guy. Village Rites. I think we're just going to play a Beetle. They might sack it, or rather counter it, but I think that's fine. And then play out some Sages. These Carrion Feeders can be enormous. Oh, I meant to use the Mercenary to grow an insect. That's a little annoying. I still think we'll just jam with the whole crew. Block Mercenary and Ghast. So I think we will sack the Mercenary here. We get in for 8. I think that's solid enough. We'll pass. They're going to pass back to us. We're not going to do anything with the Village Rites. We do have a snuff out for this Honor Guard. We want to fight over it right now. I don't think we need to. I think they're under a lot of pressure here because we can just swing with everything. But they have to be proactive. So they can have flickers and stuff to keep this alive. Block the Carrion Feeders. So currently we're getting in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. And I can't grow that without sacrificing the Carrion Feeders. So I don't think we're killing them this turn. But I do want to grow this Carrion Feeder to pick off this guy. So we'll sack a Sage. We stay at just as much damage because the Beetle grows. It'll probably get snapped. But then we at least get to pick off their 2 guys. I could do an extra damage here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would make everything we have lethal. Yeah, let's do that actually. I could double sack this and go for lethal, but I think they have something. So we're just going to wait for them to snap probably the Beetle. Oh, they have a Ghostly Flicker on both of these. I'm going to try killing the Coalition Honor Guard in response. 4 mana to prohibit. They're gaining life. Okay, I was going to say, because if they weren't, we're probably going to Reaping the Graves here and Village Rites. So that's 5. 1, 2. We only have 3 creatures in the grave. So we're hitting for 8. We can make it 9, 10, 11. Oh, we can just kill them, right? It's always the risky thing of we have to sacrifice our guys to themselves. But let's just Village Rites the Sage. Rebooter. 5, 6, 7, 8. They're tapped out. Even if they have a foil, that doesn't do anything. I guess they could foil their own Ghostly Flicker, which would gain them a life. So let's let the Flicker resolve first. And then we'll sacrifice this. And this 7, 8, 9, 10 will sacrifice this to itself. That's 11 damage. All right. Ooh, every time we have to sack all of our own giant creatures in order to get in for lethal, it like terrifies me. Because if I miscount by 1, we could definitely just throw the game. But that was sweet. Snuff outs are good here. As are fiends, I think. I don't think we're supposed to side in fiends against like general control decks, but more combo decks. Familiars is definitely a control combo deck, so it plays like a control deck, usually with a combo finish. So I think it might be okay in this situation. I'm not sure reunions are where we want to be. They do play Archaeomancers with Ephemerate loops, but that's usually late enough in the game that if we have to start interrupting that, we're probably in a bad spot anyway. This is another one where Glee, I'm not sure is great. I know I keep saying that, so maybe this card sucks, but I think it'll be good against decks with Colony Gardens and Spawn. But all of their creatures are pretty relevant in this deck, so making them sacrifice any of them to chump block is not bad. I think we cut Glees and then freebooters. We lose 4 freebooters. Does that hurt us too much? I think it might be fine. This is a 1-lander again, but we don't have the village rights to draw us out of it. We also don't have the snuff out up. So turn 1 we get like a Mortician Beetle. No, turn 1 we Carrion Feeder. Turn 2 we can Ghast, sack it to the feeder. Mortician Beetle maybe. This one's tough, but 1 land makes it pretty good. I think we're gonna try it. Famous last words. Put it on 6, they preordain. We get another snuff out. That could be either really bad or really good. I think we Carrion Feeder first, because that'll allow us to sack the Shambling Ghast if we need to. They're just gonna snap the feeder. I don't think there's any, I mean, this is pretty bad, admittedly. I don't think there's any reason to sack it, though, to itself. That just makes it so they can't play a 2-mana spell. I think that's fine. Most of their 2-mana colorless spells, not colorless, blue spells are like prohibits. So if they want to counter this feeder, it's not great, but it's fine. Without a land here and losing our feeder, it's pretty bad, I will say. I cycle a Lorien for a Floodplain. Preordain, both to the top. Play the plane. Pass. Another Ghast. I think we play a Ghast. Sack it right away to make a treasure and play a Mortician Beetle. If they have a really slow hand, next turn we can play a Ghast, sack it, and grow. I mean, this is not great. I could also play another Ghast right here, and we have a 3-power attacker. But I think the Beetle, getting that down before the second sack is decent. We're just hoping these carry us there. Cycle another Lorien, and they have a Seagate Oracle. Okay. We can probably attack past that, because we can make the Ghast do a -1/-1 to this if we need. There's our Swamp. Okay. I think we're back in it a little bit. Although, I might want to Infiltrator here, because then next turn I can Ghast, sack it, make a treasure, sack the treasure, Deadly Dispute. I can like make the Infiltrator enormous. Okay. So I attack with a Carrion Feeder here. If they block, don't think I sack the Mortician Beetle, but I bluff as though I will. We get in for 2, ideally. Nice. We live up snuff outs for key creatures, more key than this, or if they go for a flicker on this, I'll probably kill it. There's a familiar, that's more key. And a evoked Muldrifter. They haven't played a land yet, which means they're searching for it. So I'm gonna snuff out the familiar while they're tapped out. And then yeah, they can draw 2. This is gonna grow the Mortician Beetle, because the evoke is a sack. That's pretty funny. That's pretty relevant actually, because that makes it so this Ghast can make it so any of our guys get through now. They just have an island. Another feeder. They could have a Dispel for the Deadly Dispute, so we're not going to sack that like a treasure to that. So I think we're just playing a Ghast here. If I play our Carrion Feeder, sack that too. We have 6, and these grow by 3 each, so that's 12 damage. I think we're just playing it out, swinging with the team, seeing what they want to do. No blocks. And I think we're going to sack this Ghast, create a treasure, and sack this. It's 12. I guess I could make it 13 with the treasure. Putting them to 4 with 4 or 3 lethal attackers seems good though. So we'll do that. Put them down to 4. I know they have life gain. I know they have snaps, but still, they have to deal with all of these and have blockers. Plus we have a snuff out. Murmuring Mystic is a blocker and probably another one. We could snuff out the Seagate Oracle in response. I think it's fine though. Ephemerate this. We just kill it. They haven't played a land, so they could have an untapped land and play something else. So we could just snuff out the Mystic, which means they would need a 1-mana creature to or like 1 minute interaction spell. Snuffing this out gives them less chances of doing that, though. I think we kill the Mystic. They need to have like Plains Faithful, and then they still have to chump with everything. So yeah, we were able to get there. Nice. All right, round 5 here. We have no sack outlets, only fodder. I don't think this one's keepable. If like 1 or 2 of these was village rights, maybe. This one's pretty bad too. Yeah, I think we got to go to 5. I mean, this is better than either of those other hands. It's not great either, since it's 1 land. But I think we can't bank on the Glee this time. And put back the Infiltrator. What's my game plan? Carrion Feeder. I'm on the play too. I think we just have to go Carrion Feeder on 1, even though it might just die. Then we go Freebooter and we Village Rights it. Get a treasure from that. I think we put back the Link Breaker. It's tough. Part of me wants to put back the Infiltrator because it's 2 mana, but I did not do that. Well, we are against mono red again, and Tomb Raider start is rough. I think this is a tough matchup, especially with no unexpected Fangs in the main deck, which is my what I was trying out, but also on 5 cards seems almost impossible. I could play this Infiltrator, and then if they try to bolt one of them, I can just sack it, or I can just play a Freebooter. I don't think that's the winning play, though. I think we're just doing this and hoping they have no way to kill any creatures, and the next turn we can start growing them both. Seems very likely to work. We have 2 Percussionists, okay, and they swing for 4. I could sack Feeder to itself and block a Percussionist here. I think that's bad, so we're just going to take 4 and regret it when we die in a couple turns. Swamp is fine. We're just going to Village Rights this Freebooter right away. Reaping the Graves is far too slow, unfortunately. Don't think it's what we need here. Deadly Dispute's not great either. We don't even have a Vault of Whispers to sack to it. I guess we're swinging with this Carrion Feeder, and Gixian is on blocking duty. And I'll block Tomb Raider, sack the treasure to keep it alive. If they bolt it, I'll Deadly Dispute it. Swinging with the team. Block here. I could also sack Feeder to itself to grow this, and then I leave my treasure. I think more likely we Deadly Dispute the Feeder, so let's just sack this to grow. If they bolt here, I can sack Feeder and the treasure to keep it alive. If they have a Galv Blast, I can't do that. I think Carrion Feeder can't block, so I think we're sacking this anyway. We really need to find some blockers. I mean, these are decent. We'll see if the Gixian just gets taken down, though. They have a Kuldotha on the Clockwork. And a Chain Lightning. Unfortunate. 1 sack short to keep this Infiltrator alive. They might just go face, which is probably worse, to be honest. They do. Yeah, I'm seeing why Fangs might be a necessary card in the main deck. It just doesn't seem like it's possible to win game 1 without it. I guess we put down 3 creatures here, though. I think we do attack. I don't think there's a world where we're going to survive if we just hold back with 4 cards in hand. They could definitely have bolts. And we'll make it as fast of a clock as possible. Sack this treasure. Hit for 6. Yep, they had the festivities, which I was pretty worried about. We just didn't really have anything to do about it. They swing for 3 and play an Epicure. Sage. I mean, if there's a world where we win, it's attacking for 6, 2 turns in a row, somehow surviving 1 life off a block here, because they have 3 mountains in hand and 3 mountains on the top of their deck. They're going to block. Play a Sage. Synth into a mountain. Swing. We will block. They got another Kuldotha off this Synth and a Lackey. Oof. Well, we didn't die this turn. I don't think there's anything we can draw. Oh yeah, they're still at 12 because they didn't take it. If they had taken it, maybe we could draw something, but no, we are dead. Man, this matchup just feels tough. Fangs, I did try in our last league, and when we did go against mono red, the Fangs didn't keep us alive there either because they were able to kill the creature quicker with just a couple bolts. So I'm not sure that's the solution either. It feels like we need some way to gain life that doesn't have to do with our creatures. As much as the lifelink is cool because our creatures get really big, they just don't when we're on the back foot from turn 1. So yeah, Kuldotha feels like the main matchup we have a hard time with, but obviously it's a pretty prevalent one. This hand looks pretty good. Opponent mulls to 5, that's going to help. We're going to start with a Ghast in case they have the Tomb Raider start. We could block and trade, or at least threaten it. Next turn, I think we just Deadly Dispute this. They have a Clockwork. They're going to swing. So I think next turn we Deadly Dispute, make 2 treasures, and then the following turn I can Gixian, sack both treasures to grow it by 2, Freebooter and Carrion Feeder, and we can make this really big. I guess that's the type of start that an Unexpected Fangs would be helpful after. Mortician Beetle's nice too. I don't think that changes anything. We could play Mortician Beetle and a Carrion Feeder. Actually, I could do both of those. Sack the Gas to the Feeder, make a treasure, play the Freebooter, sack it. We have 2 3/3s. They still die to bolts. Following turn, Deadly Dispute the treasure. Doesn't seem as good, honestly. So I think we're just passing here. We could get in for 1 damage, but I'd rather chump 1 damage. Another Percussionist. Looks like they might not have a land, which means we could trade for both of these, but if they're looking for a land, we certainly don't want to do that. So we're just going to dispute and not shrink either of them. Make a token. If they don't have a land here, they're not going to be able to deal with our creatures growing really fast anyway. Another dispute. Nice. I wouldn't hate a land here, yeah, because we can play Gixian, Mortician Beetle, then grow this off our treasures, play a Carrion Feeder, play a Freebooter, sack that right away. Yes, and yield. Deadly Dispute on top seems good. We get a treasure, sack that, play a Link Breaker, and now pass. And now we have an enormous creature. So this is the start we need against red. Obviously, them missing their land is going to help us in mulliganing to 5. But even if they hadn't, if they had still just tapped out for a couple creatures there, we'd be a little lower on life. But this start is still kind of crazy. So maybe we just need to look for these openers a little more. Synth into another Synth. See if they found that land. They did not, it looks like. They are going to get some off of these, to be fair. I guess we will sack this. We don't need to. We have a Deadly Dispute on top. So we'll just sack this to that. See what we draw. If we get some Ghasts, maybe we use them to pick these off so we get in for more damage. Yeah. So I could play that, pick one off, and they chump here. So we get in for 7-ish. I don't think we need the Weather the Storm up. I guess 7, but they're chumping probably both of these anyway. I guess we don't need to. Yeah, let's just swing, actually. If they chump a 3-power creature, that's not actually that bad. And then next turn, we can use this to pick off something else. Yeah, they're going to just chump the big one. So, also, if they don't get a land, or even if they do, if they get 2 lands, they'll only be able to use 1. Yeah, we're gonna do this still. Kill the Percussionist. They do find a mountain. And then I could hit for another 2 with this Mercenary. 9. That makes this out of reach anyway. Or bolts. I think this seems good. Hit for 9. They find a Bushwhacker. That seems pretty useless. It is a chump blocker, though. Well, I guess this is just the start we needed. I mean, if they had like a bolt up there, it would have been a lot harder, but still possible. And at the very least, I think we would have still had this Infiltrator, because with all the treasures, it was just very hard. So I guess we need to look against mono red for those openers with an Infiltrator specifically, growing off all the treasures. Of course, we only have 3 of them, so that's tougher to do. Can't keep. This one has no creatures at all. We can't keep that either. This one has our Infiltrator, Infestation, Weather. We gotta keep this, put back a Swamp. I think we gotta put back this Weather the Storm. We don't even currently have a treasure to cast it. Yep. Well, now that we're the ones on the 5, we'll see. Yeah, Tomb Raider. See how quickly we're gonna die. Deadly Dispute. I only swing for 2 here. I think we just wait and we Deadly Dispute block next turn. Have an Epicure, pass. Got a Freebooter. So instead, I can Freebooter and then Village Rites. So trade one of these here, chump here. I think that's fine. Percussionist, swaying with the team. Block here. Village Rites the Sage. And then trade. I guess I should have blocked the other way and then done that first, so I could have scryed first, but I still scry before we draw here, so it's probably not that big of a deal. Swamp. Let's see, we get a treasure, so we're at 4 mana. So I can play the Infiltrator, hold up Deadly Dispute, which is 3 sacks for the insect to keep it alive through a bolt, but not a Galv Blast. And if we do that, we'll lose all our creatures, so more than likely we actually just want to play both of these. In which case, I think it's tough. I think we do want another Swamp. I could just play a Freebooter and then leave up Deadly Dispute, chump here, trade here, and then we have 5 treasures, or excuse me, 3 treasures, but 5 mana next turn. We can play an Infiltrator, 3 sacks. Unless we're drawing new cards. I think that might be where we want to be. I could just do the same thing and have 1 fewer treasure by playing this Link Breaker. But I don't think we need to play the Link Breaker right now. I don't think attacking for 1 here matters. So I think we're just going to pass. They're going to Galv Blast us. Can't do anything about that. I could go for a Deadly Dispute on one of these guys now to try to find a Weather the Storm for 12. That's not bad, but if they're going to try to kill us this turn, we'll have the same chance anyway. Start with a Synth. There's a Bolt. Certainly going to face. And a Mountain. If we draw the Weather the Storm, we could definitely have a big life swing. That'd be very good for us. Gonna block like this. Deadly Dispute the Freebooter. I think we're scrying just about anything that's not a Weather the Storm away. Certainly a land. Oh, 2 more lands is pretty bad. You got a Clockwork off the Clockwork. Lucky. There's the Bolt. Ugh, gaining 15 would be so good here. We just drew so many lands. It feels like this deck runs too many lands, but we're also mulliganing because we didn't get enough because there's only 17 in the deck. But how are we drawing so many if there's only 17? Play an Infiltrator. We're going to probably use these to grow it anyway, so might as well use 1 on the Link Breaker, bluff something else. And I guess we're just passing. If we had 3 treasures, we might sack them all on our turn so that we grow this out of range of a Galv Blast. But since we only had 2, it doesn't really matter. We could do it then to grow it out of range of a Lightning Bolt, so that might not be a terrible idea. I guess I could do that right now if we wanted to, since they're sacking this Synth. I think we're fine, though. They do get a Kuldotha Rebirth off the top. That's pretty bad. We don't have any sweepers in the sideboard, which I understand why, but it feels like maybe we need another. We need a couple, like, Suffocating Fumes or something, because we're going to have a hard time beating this. It starts with Deadly Dispute, though. I mean, I don't mind the Weather the Storm, but the reason I asked for Deadly Dispute was so that we could find the Weather the Storm and actually have some life to gain from it. So I guess we're just passing here and hoping they cast a bunch of irrelevant, small, low damage cards. Not a Bushwhacker, for example. Swinging with the team. This is 10 if we block the 2 big ones. We're gaining only 6 here. So 1 bolt kills us either way. Might as well trade this for one of the small guys. All right. Grow our Infiltrator and play a Weather the Storm for 6 life. Pray that that somehow gets us there. We're at 2, and they got the Bolt. Well, we got a 3-2. Not a bad record, obviously, but losing twice to Kuldotha hurt. Maybe a Fangs is good enough. I will say I'm a little disappointed we didn't see Glee much come up at all. It was decent in the couple times we did get it, but we never got to trample with it, and so it looked downright trash in the deck. We cited it out over almost every time, but I think that's just the matchups we went against and how we drew, which I don't think was exceptional. Overall, the deck is still quite a bit of fun. That one Weather the Storm turn where we killed them from 16 out of kind of nowhere was absolutely bonkers, and I think the deck is going to keep getting better as more people look into it. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.